Is there a UT210E Pro? Oh, I don't know. Can someone confirm? Anyway, it is upside down. So all the electrons are going to fall out. So I'm going to have to turn it up this way. And yeah, last time we did teardown of the Brymen here, the BM037. Still haven't 100% decided if I'm going to carry it on my store or not. But everyone mentioned the UT210E as like everyone's like cheap ass go-to meter, like clamp meter. So I thought I'd get one. I got one local stock here. I think it was like 60, 70 bucks or something. Aussie. Let's have a squeeze, shall we? A little bit smaller, about the same height, like this. And the jaws are much slimmer and smaller. Some people complained about that. I think some people said it might be a slight advantage, but I think other people complained that the jaws didn't open up much. So if we open them, let's do an opening comparison. Oh yeah, look at that. Brymen wins hands down. The Brymen feels like a nicer mechanism. So, you know, this isn't feel-o-vision, but it just feels smoother and less force. This is really like, geez, I've got to put a lot of force onto that, and it doesn't feel as good. So it doesn't open as much, it doesn't feel as good, it's stiffer. Yeah, Brymen wins on the clamp jaw. Now, a lot of people, let's just go through some things. A lot of people loved the fact that this has a, you know, you can adjust this with your thumb, okay? Sure enough, right? It's old school, like, you know, the old school fluke, the buttons on the side, right? But you can also do it with the Brymen. I know it's not designed for that, but I can do that no problem. So, really, yeah, I don't see the problem there. Like, yeah, this is a better implementation, but you can still do it one-handed with the Brymen. So, yep, they're equal in that regard. Of course, the big thing is that the UniT has a 2 amp mode. Okay, so it's got 1 milliamp resolution, whereas the Brymen BM037 only has a 10 milliamp resolution there. So it's only got a 60 amp and a 600 amp range. But the good thing is that the 600 amp range is bigger. Okay, it's bigger than the 100 amp range on the UniT, which is actually a bit small, you know, if you're like doing like inrush currents and stuff like that. So the Brymen is better in that regard. Which one can measure current through a banana jack? Not this, actually the higher end model, the 039, can measure microamps through here. This one, actually, no, this one doesn't do microamps for, you know, flame rods and other, you know, whatever is. So yeah, it doesn't do the microamps. Whereas this, the 039 model of this does do the microamps range through the banana jacks, I believe. I did ask Brymen about whether or not they could do a 6 amp range version of this, and they said no, sadly not, that would require a total redesign. So that's, you know, that's not really an option. Yeah, so if I'm going to sell this, I'm going to have to sell it as is with the 6 amp and 60 amp. 60 amp and 600 amp ranges. Okay, so the UniT has the advantage of having a 1 milliamp resolution as opposed to a 10 milliamp resolution, and I haven't actually tried it yet, haven't hooked it up. And we can do that. Anyway, it is true RMS. It doesn't seem to have the min-max and crest capabilities of the Brymen. So that's a big plus to the Brymen. It will eventually have EEVblog brand in DAS. Yes, they will actually do this in, they said they can do this in blue, so it'll be the blue, there is actually a specific EEVblog blue. It's a specific Pantone color. So they will actually do that for me. They'll do the blue plastic stuff, and it will have the EEVblog and Brymen brand in here. And by the way, it has to be joint EEVblog and Brymen branding. It's got to have Brymen on it. If it doesn't, then they apparently have to get it recertified, completely recertified. Part of the red tape or something, you know. So that's why my meters are branded both EEVblog and Brymen, just to avoid recertification. UniT is more elegant, says Rassembot. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a little bit smaller, it's a bit more elegant. I don't like the side display on it. Like, I don't like the side at all. The Brymen has a much better display. Much better. No contest. And backlight, yeah, it's pretty piddly. I think this one's pretty piddly as... Oh, no, yeah, the Brymen definitely has the better backlight. It's got the larger digits. Whether or not you're a fan of, like, the big squashed digits, but you can see them. You can see the difference there, right? I know this is slightly further back, but that is, like, pretty much the real difference. Yep. What you're seeing on the screen is what I'm getting. The Brymen just has a much bigger display. I like it. So, yeah, Brymen, more betterer. In that regard, what else have we got? Yeah, and it'll have the backlit continuity thing, right? So you have the flashy, get rid of the backlight. You have the flishy or the visual alert thing, you know, so it flashes the display. So that's the buzzer. Really don't want the right angle plugs when you've got a unit like that. Okay, Ohmsky and... Oh, well, let's try the auto range first. Yeah, that's slow. That's slow. It's as slow as the Brymen. It does go up to a higher range, though, than the Brymen, but ohms. But you're not using it as a really everyday multimeter. Just as good, but no backlight. No backlight flashing. So, the Brymen has the superior continuity tester, I would say. And it's a bit louder, too. Needs EEVblog blue-coloured backlight. That's interesting. Ian, a blue backlight. I wonder if they can do a blue backlight. That would technically require a different build. I'm sure they could do it. Maybe I should modify it with some blue LEDs and see what it looks like. Is it too wanky or not? Vote, snap poll. Meter Thunderdome. 2 meters enter, 1 meter leaves. Love it. I love Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Trady Trev, blue backlight. Harry says blue, organic, blue. Yes to the blue. Oh, 5, 4. Yeah, nah, says Antonio. Sam says, so I only got 1 negative. Only got 1 yeah, nah so far. Blue, Alan says blue. Blue is nice as long as it doesn't make it hard to read. Yeah, blue backlights are useful when working with IR lasers. The only use case where color matters. As long as it's not that high brightness blue that blinds you around the corner, yeah. I agree, it'd have to be the right type. I love the UniT since it has tweakable firmware. Really? Yeah, I think somebody might have mentioned that last time. Blue color light might make things difficult to see to the human eyes, being terrible at focusing blue light sources. Worth a test. Yeah, I think it's going to suck. No, the fork ones are only for bigger currents, I think, Eric. I think the fork ones, for those who don't know, you can get meters that just have forks like that. There's no clampy clamp. They're just forks and go around and go like that. I think they're only for higher currents. Needs Big Clive disco mode. Blue light tends to end up blurring your view, so no. And it's got the non-contact voltage tester too. The Brymen's much more sensitive. Yeah. The UniT doesn't do anything at all. Well, it's got to be right next to it. It's got to be like a centimeter away, but I guess that's good. See? This goes beep, 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 when it's right next to it. Solid beep when it's right next to it. So I like that, but I do have it on high mode. There is a way to low sensitivity mode. Okay, right. It was on high sensitivity mode. So this has dual modes. Yeah. I can detect the twist in the wire. That didn't do... Oh, that's not doing it at all. Look. There's a point where it didn't get it at all. Once again, you can detect the twist in the wire, but I swear, there's a point where it doesn't do it. Look, there's a point. I can get that right on there. And it's not beeping. Oh, that's... Oh, nah. Yeah, nah. Like, it works, but... the sensitivity just seems to be not high enough. Yeah, whereas the Brymen's got 2 different levels there of sensitivity. The Brymen, whereas this one I think only has 1, right? So there you go, a bit more testing required. But yeah, it does seem like the Brymen's better. EF detection, which is multi-levels. Anyway, this has turned into a shootout. It's supposed to just be a teardown. No, go away, Windows Update. On low currents would be interesting to see since the UniT... Yeah, I expect the UniT to win. Alan says that's a direct-to-trash can failure right there. Could be. You just tested your 210D and I could stand away from it, it would beep. It's too sensitive. Okay. Yeah, well, UniT are famous infamous for their different models. Like, this is the E model, okay? The D model will be totally different, just like their multimeter. The UT61E is the go-to meter, like cheap UniT meter. You know, it's a perfectly fine meter. It's great. You know, excellent for the price. But the D model, like the other models in that series, they've got the A, B, C, D, and E models. They've got 5 models, all called UT61. And this, they've got more than the... They're doing the same thing with the 210, are they? Tap near the COM silk screen. What? Oh, you can, yeah, this has got the... Right. Does the probe... Look, I'll put the red into the COM. Yeah, you can use the COM. You can use the probe. Nope. Nope. You can do... I think you can do that with the Brymen. I haven't actually tried it yet. Yeah. Yeah. So the Brymen one, you can use the probe. Oh, that's my hand coupling. Yeah. Yeah, there. Yeah, so the Brymen, you can do that. Looks like the UniT doesn't have that. Doesn't have it. So there's another plus for the Brymen. And I was also maybe considering also a cane test one. Because, cane test, but UEI make a bunch of good-looking clamp meters. So I was actually going to contact UEI/Cane and yeah, and see what they could offer with a similar functionality to this. But they look pretty good. I've heard that they're actually quite popular in the industry, Sparky industry and stuff. So who wants to see a teardown? 2 meters enter, 1 meter leaves. Oh, and by the way, it does have a battery compartment, so that is a plus for the UniT. There we go. There's our battery compartment. No wuckers. Super heavy duty. Yeah, metal threaded insert. Nicer. So, yeah, that's one of the downsides of the Brymen is that you have to open the case. Oh, gee, this is plastic insert. This is not metal threaded. Yeah, there we go. But that's all right. Jeez, that's stiff. Yeah, so one of the downsides, I think, of the Brymen is that... But some people said that's an advantage. They didn't want the battery compartment because it could fall off or whatever. Anyway, here we go. And just lifts off. Nice. Yep. They've got just the terminals. Oh, okay. It's an interesting interface. They haven't gone with the springs. They've just gone for a bit of spring metal there. That's cheaping out. But then again, this thing is built down to price. There you go. That's nice and neat, isn't it? What's a GS8334? Can somebody try and Google that? If somebody's got their Google foo on, what's a GS8334? Let's do a live. No, Linus Tech Tip screwdriver, no. See, I don't follow Linus Tech Tip, so I don't know what the whole screwdriver thing's about, but I've seen him mention it on Twitter, and I'm sure it's like an in-joke thing. But he's making a killing. I think we have somebody's fin... Or is that mine? I don't think that's mine. I think we have a genuine fingerprint there. I think we have someone's fingerprint from the factory. It's a little wire going off there. Is that for the... That'd be for the EF detection. That has to be for the EF detection. So it's buggering off right up in there. So yeah, because the sensor point, they literally tell you they show you that the sensor point is there. Like, so the wire must be going up to a little contact in there. Looks neat and tidy. I like it. There's the mechanism. Yeah, similar sort of thing to the Brymen. That wall is not thick enough. Like, you know, that is just going to break over time. That's worse than the Brymen one, I think. At least I think the Brymen one was like at least complete. This one's got like nothing on this side of it. So that I think is eventually going to break, especially the force required. Like, this isn't field of vision, but there is a lot. I'm putting a lot of force on that to actually open and close these jaws. So yeah, that's not the best. I think that's probably slightly worse than the Brymen from memory. We've got a missing cap. The mystery of the missing cap. Got some guard traces there. Nice attention to detail there. We've got a couple of trimmers, of course. I think the Brymen had 4 trimmers, I think. 3 or 4 trimmers on a separate board and stuff. So, anyway, UniT aren't going to tell us what that is. I don't see at any light angle, I don't see anything on there. They've scrubbed that puppy. If anyone knows, because, well, the firmware apparently somebody said like this Hacked firmware. I love, look at the capacitor. Look at, wow, look at that. Look at that, that's insane. That's insane. I've never seen a row of caps like that. That's kind of great, actually. And I assume that's like an I2C. That's an I2C for settings and stuff, presumably. Tradie Trev has got it. 350 kilohertz, 0. So that chip there is a 350 kilohertz, 0 drift CMOS rail-to-rail I/O op-amp with RF filter as well. Nice. Nice. Okay. Thank you, Tradie. Yeah, that's exactly what you'd expect there. That would have been my guess as well, given all the surrounding components, the surrounding resistors and stuff. That's like op-ampy, right? When you see a chip like that, and you see like a bunch of resistors around like that in this sort of like configuration, you know it's kind of like feedbacky, resistory, dividery thing. So it's, you know, most likely an op-ampy thing. NTC. That's an NTC? That's an internal temperature sensor, is it? Wait, oh yeah. They might have to do compensation for the, ambient temperature compensation. I can picture that. We've got 110. Well, that's a pretty, yeah. All right, that's what you expect. Does anyone know what the main chip is? Because people said that there's like custom firmware for it or something. People have indicated that there's like hacked or custom firmware. That indicates that somebody knows what the chip is and is able to reprogram it. I mean, there's your port. I mean, you know, sure enough, right? There's your port. Does anyone know? Can anyone confirm that there is firmware for this thing? Leave it in the comments. Like it has to be like a multimeter chipset, right? All right, let's have a look at the input protection. What do we got here? 2 PTCs, 3 MOVs, 2 PTCs. Although this is a lower cat rating, a 300 volt cat 3 at best. The Brymen is 300 volt cat 4. Thank you very much. And as you saw in the Brymen, yeah, it's got like an entirely separate board. So yeah, the Brymen has better overrange. And check out what they got on the back here. They've just got like a PCB. Oh, what is that? They've just got like a custom right angle-y thing like that and just screwed in. That's interesting. How do you get your screwdriver in there? Oh, it's all going to lift out. Okay. Yeah. This whole thing will lift out. Oh, that one's black. Why is that one black? That one's very different. And is a different screw. Why? Support post. Oh, sneaky bugger. Sneaky one under there. And sneaky one up there. Got to remember where those blackies are now. That's fascinating. They would have to have that. They would have to screw that on first and then solder those in. Or no. They would screw these in as an assembly and then they'd solder this on. Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Written like Flint. And there's that. That looks like standard UniT fair. Yep. That looks like a standard UniT range switch. No wuckers. That's all standard stuff. It's got dual contact on there. The LCD is just there like that. There's nothing under it. No, that's just a big plastic window. And is there anything under there? There's a couple of things. 3 missing trannies there. It's okay, especially for the price. That should center when I put that in there, like that. All right, so that is a teardown. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no bodges. It's probably going to meet its cat rating, etc., etc. You cannot complain for the price. I can't believe they can make these for the price and sell them. I got this for like 60 Aussie bucks. And that included postage, I think. Locally. And this is local stock. Local stock. I wonder what the fob cost of this is. Unbelievable. People spotted this in my solar... Well, one person spotted this in my solar video the other day. That when you're putting screws back into plastic... inserts like this, you rotate it backwards like this until you feel it drops into the existing thread. This one's difficult because I think that's it. Yeah. Anyway, you turn it backwards until you feel it drop into the existing thread. Otherwise, if you just screw it straight in, you might be cutting a new thread. And that's bad news if you're undoing stuff and redoing them all the time. And cuts into the and then you screw it back into the existing thread. So you cut a new one and you wear out your plastic and eventually the screw is never going to go in there again. It's going to be loosey-goosey. You pay 25 bucks for yours. Does this work? If I put it back together. Anyway, that's pretty good. Like, I would not, certainly. Yep, screen still works. Yep. Yeah, I definitely would not, I would not give this a thumbs down. It's exceptional value. So I would, well, like I haven't actually tested its performance yet, but, you know, everyone swears by it. Everyone says for the price, it's great. And it has that useful 2 amp range, right? So I didn't do the half turn there because I felt the half backwards turn there because I felt that it actually dropped into place. It's like feel of vision. Because sometimes you don't have to turn it backwards. You can just feel that you actually got it first go. So there you have it. There's the UniT. Didn't somebody want to see a test of low current capability? I can do that. Okay, let's try 1 amp. 1 volt, 1 amp, turned on. There we go, constant current. I've got 1 amp flowing through here now. AC, well, that's not going to work. 0.744. What's wrong with the UniT? Look, the Brymen's bang on. 0.75 amps. If I go the other way, of course, it'll give me positive. What, 1.2? Zero it. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, but like, oh, okay, right, sorry. Really? Was it showing that before? Can somebody confirm that it was showing that offset before? Was it showing that large an offset? That's a massive offset. I mean, you know, the Brymen's got the DC offset feature, but it's usually only out by like less than 5 digits. 5 least significant digits. This is huge. It is off. I will turn it on to the 2 amp range. I will put it on DC. Look at the offset. That is enormous. Really? Okay, well, let's zero it. Okay, fair enough. Okay, right? Let's zero it. Now I'm pretty confident it will be spot on, right? Well, no, it's not great, is it? And once again, for those who complain, I'm not holding the wire straight. Okay, look, I'm putting it right in the middle. I'll put it right up near the top, put it right down the bottom, put it right off to the side. Okay, you do get your extra digit of resolution with your 2 amp range, but that's not terrific. Even with, you know, least significant, you know, plus minus counts. I'll 20 amps and I'll zero that. Yeah, look, it's got that constant offset. That's massive. Is this normal? Yeah, has anyone else got this meter and can confirm that they have this larger offset? 0.96, there. All right, so that's similar to what we were getting before. And it always defaults back to AC. It drifts quickly. It's good enough for Australia, someone says. Need to degauss it. 1% isn't great. Well, yeah, okay. It's very normal, very sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I get the same thing on my my TTI AIM eye prober thing. Yeah, it's very sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. Yeah, that is the problem with the units with the lower current ranges. I guess that's why Brymen don't want to borrow of it. I know it's a $40 meter. I know. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's good enough. No, 1% on 2 amps. No, you know, it's okay. I just kind of like expected better. Oh, can we unzero it? Yes, we can. Does it change? Yeah, they are. Yep. Magnetic field is changing. 255. Woo, look at that. Look at that. Wow. Guess the Earth is not flat after all. It's iron core in the center, which is generating a magnetic field for us. There you go. That proves the Earth's not flat. There you go. Yeah. It's just a huge offset, that's all. But then if you zero it, right, you zero it here, and then you rotate it, boom. Look at that. And like that as well. Yeah. If you just go like that. Yeah, it really is sensitive, isn't it? Like, this is why low current ones aren't a thing. And you'll pay many thousands of dollars for like a really low current one from Fluke. And it'll still have the problem. I don't know. Yeah, okay, you get your extra digit of resolution, but I'm not seeing the value really. Well, you can see small changes, but like, yeah, I'm not seeing the real value proposition there in having a model that had 6 amps. Like, if Brymen were to do a model that had a 6 amp range and it had similar sensitivity issues, then you could argue, what's the point? The Brymen will not change at all. Little bit. But that's the price you pay, people, for the more sensitive one. Yeah, if I got out my AIM TTI eye prober, Yeah, I've demonstrated in a video. You can, like, all you can do is rotate it, and you know, woof woof woof. Yours is -70, Mads. What is the spec? What is the spec on the UniT on the 2 amp range? You can flash the EEPROM to make it fall back to DC. Midnight gets a 0.214 offset. Okay, so similar. Firmware update to 0 at every time you change AC/DC. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Right, so it just auto zeros. That'd be handy. Yeah, if I was doing this, I would want... Well, it depends on what sort of stuff you're working with, but I would want, like, for it default to DC and to auto zero, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely want... I think I'd want it to auto zero, and then if you want to, you can press the 0 again. Tradie Trev only uses it for ballpark figuring and working out solar generation. Yeah, this is why I don't really see the value in, like, the 2 amp range. I'm not really seeing it. Not when... You know, you get so much issue with just simply the Earth's magnetic field. I'm not really seeing the inherent, so I don't think that's as a bigger advantage as, you know, because that's like, really, apart from price, that seems to be the only advantage of the UniT is the 2 amp range. And, well, I don't know, it's dominated, like absolutely dominated. Like that's 1/10 at least of the, yeah, because it's 2000 count. 1/10 of the range just gone due to variability in thing anyway. So yeah, it almost defeats the purpose. Almost defeats the purpose. Let me put it on the 20 amp range. 0 it there. I mean, you know, see, here's the problem, right? This is the 20 amp range, okay? Like this is the 20 amp range has this sort of offset, right? The 20 amp range. Whereas the 60 amp range on the Brymen, they are, and I have not zeroed that, right? So I'll turn it off. Here is the two of them side by side. Off, on to 60 amps, and this one's 20 amps, and the Brymen's better because it has more range, because it's got 60 instead of 20. So that's a big difference right there. Oh, sorry, DC. There you go. Like, huge different offsets, right? And if you rotate this one, can change like that. Let's rotate the Brymen. Yeah, you know, the Brymen changes by, you know, a couple of least significant digits, but that's it, right? This thing, like, just by default, it's like, boom, like way out. Nah. Okay, you know, it's fine if you want a cheap meter. You just got to be aware of that. Test the high current capability. I can't right here. I'd have to set up other stuff. Mine went out of calibration and was a nightmare to recalibrate it correctly. Interesting. There's a Pro version. Okay, yeah, somebody mentioned the Pro version. What is the difference with the Pro version? Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, you know, it might be useful for some niche things. You know, if you rotate it at all, you're going to come a gutser. It depends on what you're looking at. It depends on what your usage is. Depends on what your usage is. Some people, like, if you're a solar installer, well, I don't know. You know, you might use it for AC as well. I don't know, but yeah, the UniT looks far more sexy. I don't know. Which one's sexier? Vote. Snap poll. Sexiness. Which one's sexier? Personally, I'll tell you what I think after the snap poll. Snap poll, which one is sexier? The UniT or the Brymen? Which one turns you on more? Austin says Brymen. Sean says Brymen will look sexier in blue. I'll tell you what I think afterwards. Both the same? Oh, Andrew has no preference. Andrew has no sexual preference. UniT, says Midnight. UniT, says Ian. Alexi likes the industrial look more, but the Brymen allows more girth. Brymen looks more manly, while the UniT is more womanly. UniT can be used one-handed. So can the Brymen. Look, I got one hand. One hand. One hand. Look, Ma. Actually, I'm going to say, I'm calling it. I'm calling it now. The Brymen is actually better for single-handed use. Why? My left hand. My right hand. Look at this, right? I can, both hands. This one, yeah, if I hold it in my right hand, no worries, right? It's really good. If I hold it on my left hand, I can get my finger around here like this. Kinda, sorta. No, the Brymen wins. The Brymen actually wins. Believe it or not, UniT even though they've designed it specifically for one-handed operation, the Brymen is actually better for one-handed operation because I can use this easily with both hands. No problems whatsoever. No problems. That is an absolute classic where they've designed it specifically for that function. The design engineers have thought, oh, we want it, for one single-handed operation. And then they've completely forgotten that people are left and right-handed. No, and the Brymen didn't, I don't think Brymen actually thought about it, because if they did, they wouldn't have made this curved at the front like this. They would have made it, just straight across so you had more purchase on there. Where, but I can still do it. And it's really easy. It actually feels quite easy to do that. He's a better salesman than Earl Schwab. Who's Earl Schwab? UniT is trivial to use left-handed. Your bias is showing. What bias? I don't have a UniT, but I'm here. I'm holding it. Okay, look. You claim I have some sort of bias against, right. This is in my left hand. Okay? Yeah, I can do with the thumb. It's slipping. Okay, it's slipping. It's a little bit easier to use it in this orientation than to flip it over like that. I can get it, but if you've got slippery fingers, you aren't going to do that. This is slippery as. I just go like that. And I can do it that orientation. I can do it that. Trust me. I do not have some sort of bias against the UniT. I just, I'm using it. And I actually prefer the Brymen for single-handed operation. Although, if I'm using it right-handed, no. This is pretty good. But once again, I think it's a bit slippery. Yeah, the knob on the grate is great for right-handed use. But for left-handed, I think it sucks. Yeah, so sorry, Marius, that my opinion makes it look like I have a bias. It's simply... I've got to, my fingers have to sort of, my fingers get in a more awkward, I don't know how to I don't know how to describe it. My fingers get into a more awkward, crampy position. I've got to have more dexterity in my fingers to try, I've got to almost stick my fingers out like that just to get room for my finger, and it didn't even go there. It just slipped. Right? It is awful. It's just, my fingers are almost cramping up doing it. It's an infomercial. Piss off, Adam. Just telling you what I think. This is a shootout, damn it. And I'm just telling you what I'm finding. Now, I was calling out Peter. I was calling out, who was it? I put your thing up on the screen, right? Sorry, I forget your name. Attention span of a fish. Goldfish. Right? I was calling you out, right? You said that you can't change my opinion. Yes, you can. You can change my opinion. Okay, step number 1, tell me what opinion of mine you think is wrong. Step 2, tell me why, give me a good argument why my opinion is wrong. Do those 2 things. Change my opinion. Go right ahead. I guarantee you I can change my opinion if you give me a good argument. You win the internet if you can tell me what's wrong with this picture. Yeah, Klein, yeah, the CL390 was one I was checking out. I was looking at, I think it was CL390 was one of the ones I was looking at. It's blurry. It reads 2 amps with nothing. That's one thing. It reads 2 amps with nothing, but that's not the thing I was after. It does read 2 amps with nothing, but they could have used the hold function. It's got the hold function? No, it's got the hold function. Wrong range. McCuca got it. It is on the dial is on the 600 amp range. But it's on the 2 amp range, and it's showing 2 amps. It's showing and on top of that, right? There is no 2 amp range on this meter. There is no look where the decimal point is, right? This is a 2000 count meter. Okay? 2000 count meter. There is no 2 amp range. That display is physically not possible on this model. It is not possible. And the dial is in the 600 amp range position. So, gigantic, yeah, big Photoshop fail there. Anyway, yes, I am looking at the Klein Tools slash UEI, same thing. For those who don't know, Klein Cane Test and UEI are basically the same company. Oh boy. Anyway, I think that's it for the live show. I think I've done. I think we've done our dash. But there you go. That is a teardown of the UniT UT210E. Somebody said there's a Pro version. I don't think anyone ever told me what the difference in the Pro version is. 210E Pro. There you go. It's got a little Pro next to it. Okay. Get a free gift. Free crocodile clips. Wow. Really? It comes with right angle probes. Really? I can't remember which probes my one came with, and I can't find them. It comes with right... Can somebody confirm it comes with right angle probes? Why? They're sticking out the end. Why would you have right angle probes? That's dumb. No, this is actually the UniT factory store. This is the official UniT store, by the looks of it. But like, amazing price. Like free shipping. Come on. I mean, you know. It looks like it has a better backlight. It looks like it has a Paperlight backlight, but they could be lying on that. Okay, so what is the difference? It's the same cat rating. It only has frequency added. Okay, right. Yeah, well, the my Brymen won't have frequency. Hertz is the difference. Someone else has confirmed. Okoka's probably right. If it says factory on AliExpress, it's probably not the actual factory, yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't pay extra for the Pro just to get frequency. Well, for some people it might matter, but I can guarantee you, if you're working on solar, you know, solar and mains installation here in Australia, it's going to be 50 hertz. Like, you don't even have to check. Oh, I better check to make sure this inverter I've installed is 50 hertz. You know, like, no. Yeah, use frequency for VFD drives and stuff, yeah, but that's not what these meters are for. Okay, so that Pro's not a thing. I kind of like the look of this one, though. This one's pretty good. That's more in line with the Brymen. UT203, but it doesn't have like increased cat rating over the other one, so it seems like bigger. It seems like slightly bigger and chunkier. I kind of like that they've put the things on the switch there, so your fingers don't slip. There you go. That is the teardown of the UniT 210E, and for the price, yeah, it's absolutely remarkable. There's those things that I said to be aware of if you're going to buy this thing. It's not that I don't recommend it. It's just that, yeah, well, I think this is better, but it's twice the price, okay? And yeah, I don't really see the value of the 2 amp range, not with that sort of sensitivity. Problem's not the right, well, it is a potential problem if you miss it, if you forget to zero it, and you know, you could easily turn this on like I did, right? I totally didn't look, but you know, I'm not used to using it, right? It's literally the first time I've used it. But no, I can see you know, in the heat of battle, you actually forget to zero the thing out. And the thing is, you get that problem even on the 20 amp range. You get it on the 20 amp range. Like, really? Whereas the Brymen, yeah, the Brymen has an offset on the 20 amp range, but it's usually pretty small. Like, these are in the exact same magnetic field, exact same orientation, everything, right? This is an order of magnitude more offset. And other people have confirmed that that's typical. So, yeah, it's just really sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. There's a huge offset. Whereas this one, yeah, I can zero it as well. They have provided that specific function because they know it's an issue. They know the Earth's magnetic field is an issue. Or other residual magnetic fields you have around, or whatever. But, yeah, just be aware of that. Like, I can see you coming to, like, eventually, if you use this thing enough, you're going to forget. I think eventually you're going to forget to zero it. And, I don't know, you can make a mistake, you know? So, yeah, the fact that this doesn't seem to do it, like, I'd have to get, 10 different units and see if they vary, but I doubt it. I doubt that this one's just, pretty much spot on. I'd be surprised. So, yeah. There you have it. Expensive things aren't worth your money, but cheap things aren't worth your time. UniT also works as a compass if you get lost. If you get lost on the job site, yeah. Anyway, does anybody think this is a bad choice for the EEVblog store? Snap poll. Does anyone think this is a bad choice? It may not be for you. And that's fine. No, I am not going to carry the UniT. right? I just can't compete. There's no margin. There's zero margin. Good choice. Brymen is the better one. I don't care which one's better. I just like I only got this because other people said that this is kind of like their cheap ass go-to one, and it's pretty good as a cheap ass go-to clamp meter. If you just want to have a clamp meter in your box just to measure stuff, you know, you might use it once in a blue moon. Just, you know, you don't have to spend twice the price to get this. You can just get this. Brymen is a good choice. No one ever got fired for buying a Brymen, you think? I can remember, I bought a Brymen back when they first started. It was yellow, back when Brymens were all yellow. Well, they only had one model back when I bought one. I can't remember the model number, and I don't have it anymore. I'm not sure what happened to it. I'm not sure if I lost it at work or whether or not, I don't know, or I eventually sold it. I just cannot remember. But yeah, I can remember using one of Brymen's first meters, and it was interesting value for money, but it had some issues. But it was absolutely amazing bang per buck. So yeah, that's the teardown. That's it. I better go. Yes, I will be having a burger today. Mrs. EEVblog's tennis match is not until 2 p.m. today, so I've got to be home at 1:45. Oh no, it's 2:15. So I've got to be home at 1:45. So that means that I can stay here, and I'm allowed to get my lunch. So I will get the burger and chips. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the little debate over the left and right-handed use.